morning, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be going over a noob's guide to fishing. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Okay guys, so today we're going to be going over a noob's guide to fishing, and I've been wanting to do this for a while because it's one of my favourite farms in order to do. I find this to be one of the most effective ways in order to make gold, and one of the laziest ways, as I am pretty damn lazy when making gold. Yeah. So that being said, let's get into the rest of the video. So the first farm that I would recommend is the Red-tail Loach farm, and that's in the inside of Nazmir. Now I'm going to pull this up on the map right here. We'll go into Azeroth, we'll go to Zandalar, and Nazmir's right here. Anywhere in the inside of Nazmir, which is in Zandalar, you can fish up the Red-tail Loach. Now the Red-tail Loach averages from anywhere from around about like 15 gold to 40 gold depending on your realm, so rather double check your auction houses when you actually do this. But when I actually do this gold farm for myself, I usually average around about 30,000 gold per hour just for clicking a bobber every now and then. Now that being the case, you do not have the chance with the inland to get the mount of the Great Sea Ray, so that is a downside towards this farm. But that being the case, the gold per hour for the interior fish, so to speak, on BFA as a whole are actually higher priced than the ones for the Great Sea Ray, because people go out and farm the Great Sea Ray, so they have a lot of the outerior or anything in the oceans. They actually get hold of a lot more fish, and that's why a lot of the fish actually sell for a lot more when it comes to the interior type ones. That goes for Kiltaras as well, but at the end of the day, one of the best farms for BFA fishing is the Red-tail Loach, as it is used for a lot of the feasts and or meals in order to actually do. Alongside that, let's get into the next one, the Deviate fish. And the Deviate fish is a very oldie but a goodie, so we have to make our way over to Kalimdor, and we'll go over to the Northern Barrens. Now over here is the Wailing Caverns, and outside there are some pools. And just like over here, you can see a lot of pools of fish. You can also see a lot of the Deviate fish ones. Now these ones can be farmed up and or cooked, or using your cooking in order to make the savoury Deviate delights. Now this is more of an RP type thing in order to do, and I find that the Deviate delight stuff sells majority of the time better on RP servers, mainly for the fact of it's just like a novelty item you just consume once and then go about your business. But I find that the Deviate fish actually sell for a decent amount of gold once they have been cooked into the savoury Deviate delight, which you can get from mainly anything in the Northern Barrens. You can pretty much get hold of that recipe, or you can just buy it off the auction house for a very small amount of gold, and you'll probably be able to get it back if you are on an RP server. This is one of the ones where I would highly recommend you being on an RP server in order to sell the stuff. On a standard server, the sales are quite low when it comes to this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's one of those ones, it's an alternative that you can do. The gold per hour does vary because of it selling better on RP servers than all the other servers, but it's an alternative nonetheless. So that being the case, let's get into number 2. Number 3 is in Vol'dun, and that is the Slimy Mackerel. And the Slimy Mackerel can be farmed up anywhere on the beaches of Vol'dun, and it's pretty good for actually farming up gold. Now the Slimy Mackerel averages anywhere from around about 10 gold to 15 gold per piece. The other thing that you can farm up along with that is the Sand Shifters, and they come every now and then, as well as the Slimy Mackerel. You do also have the chance of farming up the salmon, but the salmon's more of an RNG based thing, so I would cut that out of the equation, so to speak. But at the end of the day, the Slimy Mackerel on average gives me around about 20,000 gold per hour. But as opposed to the Nazmir one for the red-tailed loach, this one has the chance of giving me the Great Sea Ray. So you do have that aspect right there for the Great Sea Ray mount in your hours farm of farming up stuff. And now I've gained the Great Sea Ray multiple times while fishing, and that's been over that's been over at least like 15 hours worth of farming, because I do an hour a piece and I do days, and I've gained around about 5 or 6 of these Great Sea Rays that I've actually put on the auction house. I've never actually learnt one, but I've always sold them mainly because I like gold more than I like mounts, but that's not the point. You have the chance of getting the Great Sea Ray. I will not say that is a definite you're going to get it because of the percentage chance for the Great Sea Ray, but at the end of the day, you do have that chance right there. So you have two options. Either have the chance and get a little bit lower gold per hour, or go to Nazmir, do the red-tailed loach one, and don't have that chance, but you get a higher gold per hour. Personally, I would go with the Nazmir one, because I'd rather know that I've got a decent amount of gold in my bags, as opposed to going with the RNG based, which is kind of funny because I love transmog. Other than that, guys, let's get into the last one, and this one can be found where I am standing right here. This is the pinnacle of making gold for fishing, and that is Deepholm. Now over here in the Needle Rock Chasm, I farm up the albino cavefish. Now, if you are just a regular casual, you wouldn't know what the albino cavefish is used for. Now, the albino cavefish is used to actually make the deepstone oil, which is used for the Vial of the Sands mount, and it sells rather well. It's more of a medium range one because it's so it's one of those ones where it's one of those ones where it will take a little while to sell, but it does sell nonetheless. You can also turn it into the deepstone oil for a higher sell rate and sell that on the auction house, which I tend to usually do, and then I can just post those on the auction house and make a lot of gold. Now, the albino cavefish averages from around about 90 gold to around about 250 gold. On my realm, it's roughly around about 161 gold for one. Now, the gold per hour for this is usually around about 40,000 gold, which is kind of like pretty much the bog standard for most kata farms. But this one requires little to no effort at all. The majority of the time, I will just stand here and just press my bobber every now and then. And at the end of the day, I find this to be a very effective way in order to make gold. And at the end of the day, you will get things like the sharp tooth and all that jazz when it comes to these pools. But the pools can be found all along here. And this is mainly why I wanted to make a noob's guide to fishing, is mainly because of this farm. I love this farm so much. But at the end of the day, there are other fishing farms which we've just covered that do bring in a decent amount of gold as well. But I tend to find that the deepstone oil one for the albino cavefish is my ultimate favourite gold farm for making gold. Now, obviously, you do have these fungal monstrosities that get in your bloody way every now and then, but at the end of the day, it's really not going to cause you that much of a problem because you can just one-shot these guys and one-shot these guys. And at the end of the day, you will still make a huge amount of gold just by flying around in a little circle. Or you can take the alternative method and just sit here and just fish. You're going to get a little bit less albino cavefish and a little bit less gold per hour, but you're stationary and you're doing jack all. So you could always just watch TV and do this at the exact same time. I personally have one earbud in and I listen out for the bobber to go splosh, and I'm watching Netflix or like anything on YouTube basically. My setup's really, really weird. I literally watch everything on my phone. But at the end of the day, I find that the albino cavefish farm is by far one of the best farms in order to do for fishing. Alongside that is the red tail loach one, and the rest of them is one of those ones where you just go, I fancy doing that today. But at the end of the day, these ones have brought me in lots of gold, and I really wanted to share them with you. And that being the case, guys, is there anything that I have missed out for today? I know that you can get the enlarged bobber in your garrison, item that you can buy from the fishing vendor in your garrison. But yeah, it's really not that bad at the end of the day. I can see the bobber pretty much alright, and at the end of the day, if you wanted to do that, you can. But other than that, guys, that is pretty much what I wanted to cover, because these are my favourite farms for fishing in BFA at this moment in time. Now, that being the case, guys, have a lovely rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be on Wednesday. Take it easy, guys.